20.
Vision for 2020, I believe, as far as the business is concerned, sustainable, Dubai is a sustainable city. And the business has got a cyclical nature. So there is a possibility for Sobha to survive doing X number of business, X square feet of business. And I planned it very carefully. Opportunity is something, but the business, the sustainable business is another thing. So I believe in sustainable business rather than opportunities. And Dubai always has got a sustainable business volume. Of course, cycles will come and you will find that you are not able to do that. Then you have to cater, you have to structure your finances in such a way that you will not go through a problem when you go through a cycle. Bad cycle.
The real estate market at this point in time, the prices, it's waiting for a massive correction and going up to 30 to 35%. Have people heard that? I have. A lot of people are saying massive correction that is about to happen in the real estate prices, up to about 30 to 35% within the next 6 months. And there's a lot of pressure in the market that that's about to happen.
In 2008 or 2009 when the recession happened, I've heard that Dubai will come back after 30 years. These are the people who are making the predictions, 35%, 45%. I do not understand that. I've been in the industry for many years. I don't understand all that. One thing I know, this is a sustainable city, Dubai. And real estate business is a sustainable model of investment. But if you really ask me, do I put to invest and then take money return? No, not for that. There is a volume of, there's a volume of business in residential and commercial sector, which is the potential of this city. And it will go on happening with the cycles, some cycles, some certain years there will not be any growth at all. And if you really ask me how do you define the cycle, to be very frank with you, somewhere recently I've started getting a feeling, post to 2008, which the world went through a spin, that 2008 has been a real, this thing, wherein cycles have become shorter. According to me, it's a 3 years, 1 year cycle, according to me. It has no relevance at all. It's only my imagination. If you really ask me scientifically, can you tell me what's the reason of the 3 years, 1 year cycle? I cannot explain that at all. My gut feeling tells me it's a 3 years, 1 year cycle. Dubai, only thing which I can say is Dubai is a highly sustainable city. If you really ask me, about 5 billion people live 8 hours distance from Dubai. And there is no such infrastructure in the Indian subcontinent. We don't have this kind of city. The whole Middle East, we don't have a city like this. And Africa, we don't have a city like this. Put together all this population, Indian subcontinent, and I'm only talking the small, 3 hours, 4 hours flying, The total population is about 3.7 or 3.8 billion people. There's a huge potential for this city. And this city has been created with a lot of vision, with a lot of great leadership. And for me, it is a sustainable city. I will definitely bet, because whenever the recession happened, I used to say this is a sustainable city. This city cannot die, especially for their own requirement. Yeah. I would say real estate is primarily two types of real estate. Real estate asset class, where you can buy something, rent it out, it's very safe. Or you own something for you to live, that's another one. Third one, speculation, I have no idea.
If the Dubai government were to ask you for 3 initiatives to increase the success of small and medium-sized businesses in Dubai, what would you recommend?
I'll say more than the government, I'll say that the entrepreneurs will have to play that role. Government cannot do anything. Government has already provided the infrastructure, beautiful city, beautiful place to live, lot of opportunities. It is for the entrepreneur to decide what exactly should be those 3 things that you should do to develop your business.
So we heard a lot of stories about your great success, but if we come back at the early days when you had no capital, no money, it was harder. Did you ever have doubts about your capabilities as an entrepreneur, and what made you pursue?
You got to be mentally very strong, because difficulties will be there even at this point of time. There could be problems in business, there could be bad news, good news all the time. So unless you have a strong mind, of course any human being will get a little bit up, you will get shaken up. You need a very strong mind to be in business. You have to, because that is one requirement for the business. Because when you go through the down, every day a human being will have some problem or the other, some good news, some bad news. We have to live through all that. That's a very, very important requirement of a business person. Even human life is like that. I don't think it's only for business people. Even for professionals, even for families, they go through the bad, good and the bad. So I'll say that it is important that to have the mental strength. Of course, this is a time where your wife helps you. When you are a little down, your wife definitely plays an important role. I have seen one thing in my life, that women are more stronger than the men in this part of this thing, and especially when you're weak, the lady will support you a little bit.
Hello. I am an ex-Infosys employee, and you have worked, very closely with Mr. Narayan Murthy. A question which I would want to ask you, being so successful, Mr. Narayan Murthy has been so successful. What are the similarities and dissimilarities between you and Mr. Murthy?
Difficult question. Anyway, the similarity between Narayan Murthy and myself, yes. We have been working together for the last 16, 17 years, Mr. Murthy and myself. I think we have professional respect for each other. Recently, an incident happened, which is they are making the biggest clock tower in the Mysore campus. I don't know if you are aware of it. It is going to be the biggest clock tower in the whole world. So the architect is Hafiz contractor, and architect designed the tower, and they decided 4 locations in the campus. And 2 locations were straight away rejected. 2 locations there was a debate. Narayan Murthy on one side, and the other side Ramdas Kamath and the architect Hafiz contractor. They were strongly recommending that this. Then finally Narayan Murthy said, why don't you go and ask Mr. Menon where the location should be. So I flew to Bangalore recently, about 3 days back, and I went to the campus, Mysore campus. I went around with the whole team, Ramdas Kamath, etc., etc. And I felt the clock tower should be this location. And I suggested there's a cricket ground there. I said the cricket ground will have to go, push it behind, and in front of the GEC which I built. So it has been designed and it has been approved. So we have respect for each other. I have tremendous amount of, I have never seen anybody so serious, because Narayan Murthy is a success, global success. I have not seen many people. I said that there are only three people, 2 dead. No, 4 people. One is G.D. Birla, J.R.D. Tata, and Dhirubhai Ambani, and Narayan Murthy. So these are the 4 legends, 1 living, 3 dead. And if you really look at the arithmetical number, it has been created in the last 150 years, these 4 people. So you can say roughly it takes 50 years to create a legend. So I say, how can I compare with this man? This is already, here is a legend. I am not a legend.
Ibrahim Wahsh, Supply and Fix. Thank you for your presence today. Just I'd like to ask one question. It's very important for all the SMEs. Regarding to the cash flow management, especially in the crisis and very difficult times, because this is very important for the small and medium enterprises. Especially what you said right now regarding to the case study about the Heartland 2 days issue, but if we can share some case study.
I will talk about the past and the current and the future. And let me talk about the cash flow management. The past. When you do not have money to buy your next meal, cash flow management has no confusion at all. You understand? You know that you have to earn enough money to buy the next meal. That's past. Current is, with the growth of, currently I do about close to $2 billion top line. In the current cash flow management, it's extremely critical. You plan your cash flow very, very properly, cater for the worst scenario, a recession to come, and you will survive. For that, I have a simple theory in my business, especially real estate business, wherein your debt cannot be more than half of the equity. This is cash flow management. If you ever get great ideas and start leveraging more than half of the equity, you are in trouble. Because especially in a cyclical business like the real estate business, there are very many businesses, like education or health or food business, which do not go through a cyclical this thing. It's easy to manage your cash flow. Where in real estate business, I'll say that if you have to manage your cash flow, make sure your debt has to be very properly planned to ensure that it does not exceed half of your equity. Then future, I believe in that same thing.
In the context of Dubai, if Dubai had planned everything and not taken completely crazy risks and not taken the massive debt, way more than their equity, you talk about a sustainable city, it would not have been there. What do you say to Sheikh Mohammed? Because he didn't follow your advice.
You know, what happened in Dubai, let's just talk about the whole world.
Yeah.
What happened in 2008? The whole world went through a spin. And nobody talked about any other place other than Dubai. They were only focusing, the Western media and the Western press was only focusing on Dubai. If you really ask what happened later on, what happened to Greece, what happened to Italy, what happened to France, what happened to the United States?
I agree.
You understand, all the countries went through a very bad phase. But the most, you know, you put a microscope on top of Dubai and exaggerate whatever it is. It was more of bad publicity. See, for example, Dubai is part of a state, part of a country, which is UAE. Central bank sits there. We have not seen there has not been one default in this country. This country never defaulted. People talk, they will default. Has it happened? It never happened. How he plans, how he does is not our business. It has never happened. But the kind of publicity, the kind of, astrological prediction that Dubai is going to default. But other countries defaulted, like Greece defaulted, Cyprus defaulted. So many, recently the South American country defaulted. So we talk only, the media was so focusing on that. And you see, America went through, the Citibank was almost in trouble. All the banks in the world was in trouble. So Dubai survived because Dubai never defaulted. This is a real situation, real story. It's not my imagination. Have they defaulted? No.
We talked about business. We talked about success. I'm very keen to know, or if you can highlight your other initiatives, like what you have done in terms of charity, in terms of
We're going to get to that as a part of the final closure.
Okay.
Hello. My question is, when you started your business, obviously there are different sectors. There is accounts, there is business planning and other departments. Which department do you think you have to keep as a business owner closest to you? Just one department that you would want to oversee all the time personally. What would be the most important department?
Thank you.
When you talk about feasibility of business, I got my own definition about a feasibility.
That lady.
A feasibility of a business is this, one sentence definition. The ability to sell a product or service at a price which is acceptable to the customer, on which the seller can make his targeted margin and profit. If that is done, the business is done. Of course, you may say because of mismanagement, etc., etc. If you do not have business, there is no business. So the most important thing is selling. I am always there on a daily basis. All the points of my business report to me by 6 o'clock in the evening. What sale happened during the day, what amount was collected during the day. This is extremely important for a business to be successful. For me, I mean, because different, there are entrepreneurs here. Your thinking would be very, very different. You may be very successful, but my belief is that the most important thing is selling. And I am the sales department. I conduct in Dubai. When I am in Dubai, first thing I do is 8:30 I am in the office, with the salespeople. And I got all the reports on the previous day for all the centers of the world.
Good.
I'm going to be asking something a little different. If I have to ask you, if I want to invest, should it be India or Dubai?
No.
Since you are a developer from India and Dubai, at this moment, if I have to invest, would it be right for me to invest in India or in Dubai?
Real estate or?
Real estate.
Real estate. A very difficult question because, this is a commercial decision again. Okay. Person to person will have to take, as a developer in both the countries, I will not say which state to do, because I will say that it's not a great investment.
When you develop a property here, what is it in your mind? Would you be catering to the investors or the end users?
End users, please.
Okay.
All the time end users.
All the time end users,
Yeah.
because...
my dream is only end user.
Okay, there's one more question.
No, ma'am, please.
One last question.
Okay, quick one.
If at all, we have already invested into a property, and we were fortunate, we are the end users, but now I want to move into a bigger villa or whatever. So my husband is against it, because he believes that investing in India is better than doing here. So I just wanted to hear from the horse's mouth what would be right for me to do.
No, again, I will see whether to invest
because
in India.
When I invested in
she
India...
is bringing her domestic issues here. She is saying, Mr. Menon said this to her husband, therefore you cannot say anything, and therefore she will take a decision. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you for the question. But if you want to have a quick answer, fine, otherwise we'll move. Sir, moving on to one of the things which is extremely close to my heart also. People throw very easily that, and you have mentioned earlier also, that you will give away 50% back into a social, as your social responsibility. One, what has inspired you to do that? And then I'll have a follow-on question. What has inspired you to give away 50% of your wealth?
As you know my story, I did not have any wealth at all. I did not have any money. So there was always a feeling that, when you create wealth, you start sharing it. To be very frank with you, about 35 years back, I decided that half my wealth will go. Not today.
Interesting.
Yeah,
very interesting.
it's not today. A lot of people do not know it. I said, of course, numbers were very small. And at that point of time, I decided half my wealth will go. And it accidentally came in an interview that, that became big news everywhere. Now I feel that it's better to communicate also. So that all of you who is extremely successful should contribute for the benefit of the people who do not have it. I always say that, money at this point of time cannot make any difference in my life. The money that I have created or I have or I'll create. But a portion of that can make a lot of difference in somebody else's life.
So how are you shaping a fundamental change in other people's life through your large investment? So because you are a wealthy man, so let's say it's a few $100 million. How would you deploy that? What would you do to change other people's lives?
For me, there are two locations. First, to start with. First location is India, my country. I call it my mother country. And Oman, which was created, because I always say that I went to Oman without a spine. Spine was created by Oman. So I have decided, suppose I'll go to the numbers again, 50%, 20% of 50%, that means 10% of whatever I give will go to Oman, and 40% will go to India. Education is a very important thing for me. I have also decided to put up school in Oman. I've already decided the location. I was in Oman the last week. I decided the location. I am going to put up a school for 600 children there. When I do this education, I have one policy. I do not do business there. There is no collection department. Nothing I collect. It's only, I'll tell you, I already ran a school in India where I've decided 3 locations. One is Kerala, the other one is Bangalore, third one is Delhi. So across the country, I am planning to put 12,000 children in school. My schools are high international school. When you come there, you will not believe it could be much better than the international schools here. But it is meant only for the poorest of poor. Poorest of poor means poorest of poor. It's not meant for somebody who can pay $1 fees. And the school is maintains a very, very high standard, because the most important thing in India today, or the whole world, education, give education to children and make them, that brings in sustainability to the human being and the family. And my dream is start from KG1,